Hey, today I want to teach you guys how to make a simple Beet Kvass. It is a great way to get a healing vitamin and mineral rich tonic into your body, and it takes less than 5 minutes to make and 10 days to ferment on the counter. But as far as hands-on time, it's only 5 minutes. Fermented beverages are really great for digestion. They're great for building that microbiome inside. Beet Kvass specifically is really good for energy, constipation, but the main reason is my doctor calls it nature's Viagra, meaning it's really good for blood flow. Any purple or deep red vegetable is really good for blood flow. So that's why we use them here. My son works out, so he takes about a half a cup before each workout, and he says it really improves his workout. So I'm just going by what he says. In the middle of the day when you kind of feel like a slump, it's really good to take some because it just kind of energizes you. So it's beautiful. This is what you get at the end. It's a beautiful, beautiful beet color. And it tastes like earthy tears. I've had friends say that. It just tastes like tears, which I don't tend to drink a lot of tears, but you know, we're all kind of familiar with that slight saltiness flavor. It really only requires fresh beets that are well cleaned, good salt. You can have additional flavors. I'm going to use ginger and a starting culture. Now, starting culture, today I'm going to be using Beet Kvass from a previous batch, so that'll help activate the cultures quickly. You don't typically need a starter culture, but it does take longer without one. You could use ginger bug, which is something I like to use in the summer because I make ginger soda for the kids. It gives it that nice gingery pep. So instead, because it's early spring, I'm going to be using fresh ginger in it because I like that beets and ginger flavor. You can use a starter culture, a vegetable culture, sauerkraut juice, as long as it is from a refrigerated sauerkraut, like Bubby's in the refrigerator section of your grocery store, not something canned or sealed on the regular grocery store aisles. You could also use whey. Whey is something that you see on yogurt when you strain it, or if you take a scoop and the next morning you'll see like a liquid form. That's whey, and that's loaded with good bacteria. It is super easy to make. It only takes about 5 minutes of hands-on time. So I'll show you. The beet greens can actually be chopped and used in a saute with some garlic and olive oil. So you can use every part. Even after you're done with the fermenting process, you can use the beets themselves like you would a pickle, put them in salads. So here are my beet greens. This is going to be great for dinner. I would encourage you anytime you're working with beets to definitely wear an apron because beet juice does stain. The beets themselves are not that juicy, but you wouldn't want any of this to get on your clothes. You are just gonna wash and scrub your beets. You're not going to peel them because a lot of the vitamins and minerals are in there. That's why it is important to scrub them. I'm just cutting off the corners and the ends, any little hairy bits. I'm using probably 2 large beets, 2 small beets, and 1 medium-sized beet. I do this like every 10 days, so I've got my own system. Sterilize this is a gallon jar. I'm just gonna cut everything up. I'm gonna add the additional flavor of fresh ginger because I'm not using a ginger bug starter culture this time, but I do like that ginger flavor. If you don't feel up to making a gallon of Beet Kvass and you want to try it, you can do a quart jar and use one of these fermenting lids. I love these fermenting lids because they allow the gas to escape, but nothing bad to get inside. So those are amazing. I wouldn't recommend doing a quart-sized jar because by the time you fill it up with beets and your liquid, you're really only going to get a serving, and it takes 10 days, so it's a lot of process to go through for only probably 2 servings or so. So I do the gallon, and like I said, we go through that easy. So I'll start a process of it. It takes 10 days. So in that 10-day process, we're using up the other beet kvass that I make, and by the time that's over, then the other one is ready. So a gallon works great for us, and it's just one bodybuilder and my husband, and I'll occasionally have some. The ratio to salt is 1 teaspoon per 1 cup of water. I just know that I fill it up with about 5 to 6 beets. I'm gonna put 3 tablespoons of salt. I really like this Celtic Sea Salt that's got the light gray, fine ground. It's really great for fermenting sauerkraut or preserved lemons, anything like that. I'm going to start by putting the beets at the bottom. I'm going to roughly chop them. Keep the peelings on because the peelings are where all the vitamins are. So you don't want them microscopic, but you don't want them too big either, because the more surface area that it has for the salt and water to interact, the more it's going to leach into the water. So if you can chop beets, add salt, and fill it with water, you can make beet kvass. It really is that simple. Fermented foods are amazing for digestion. They're amazing for building your gut biome, because really, life is in the gut. If you have a healthy gut, you have a healthy body. So here are my chopped beets. I'm going to cut up the ginger. And add that. My 1/4 cup of starter culture. And 3 tablespoons of salt. Now I'm going to fill it up with filtered water. Clamp it down, give it a little stir, it might leak my jar, to get all that salt mixed around. And then I'm going to cover it on the counter for 10 days with my tea towel. I love these tea towels. I use them for everything. So that's as easy as it is. And like I said, if you want to try it with a quart jar, you can do that with a fermentation lid. I'll put the lid, the fermentation lid link below so that you can see what that is. I do use these for sauerkraut or fermented jalapenos, and if I'm making a small batch of preserved lemons. But when it comes to beet kvass or any kind of drink, because they typically do a 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup per day, we go through it pretty fast. So this is a great, like a gallon jar is a great thing to have on hand, the clamp, to make sure it's clean, and burp it every day. What I mean by burp it every day is you take your clamp lid and you just open it, let some of the gas release. You don't have to do that on these because it automatically comes out, but on the clamp lids, it's good to burp it every day. If you see on top of it, like a film that's getting on the top, it's called KAHM yeast, K-A-H-M yeast, and that's nothing to worry about. You just scrape it off with a spoon. But if it starts to get like a foul smell and mold, then you need to discard that. It shouldn't. You should be fine if you scrub your vegetables and you sterilize your jars, but that KAHM yeast, there's nothing to worry about. It's from the beets themselves. If you burp it and just kind of give it a little shake every day to make sure that the salt is, the brine is washing over everything, then you should be fine after 10 days. Then at the end, you'll be able to have beautiful beet kvass. So it's another way to get these fermented foods and drinks into your body. After 10 days, you're going to have your beet kvass. And it's really that simple. All you're going to take is a large bowl, a strainer. You're going to pour the pickled beets into the strainer, which you can eat like you would a salad or sauerkraut. Pour it into a regular container with a lid, and then you've got it in your refrigerator. Keep it refrigerated. My boys will just take a 1/4 to 1/2 cup of juice before a workout, or just any time throughout the day that they need to pick me up. So I hope that that encourages you, that you too can eat fermented drinks, foods. It's really that easy, and there's really not a lot to worry about. Just taking some precautions to keep your jars sterilized and your work area clean, and you'll have something that's just really, really good for your gut health and your microbiome. So in whatever ways you eat, play, or love, may it always be seasoned with joy.